The core of the love of God shared abroad with everybody is that God wants your input so as much as He wants His input. So it's possible that God says two people should get married and they will not work on each other. It will not work. Yes, it is. Because me, I don't believe in one soulmate conversation. I feel like there are 7 billion soulmates in the world. Yes. And I feel like God also works with what you want. And you're able to, because attraction matters a lot. If you like tall, thick women, you will not hear that God says you should marry that slim lady. It's only the thick person. He said God said.
The one time I met Lawrence Oyo, I was speaking to him about something, and he says he doesn't like people that do not count the costs before they go into something. If you are going to marry a pastor, you count the cost. If you're going to marry a man that's going to be a politician, you count the cost. If you're going to marry a musician, you count the cost. And it's both ways. You count the cost. People do not count the cost.
Money is not the conversation first. It is me as the person who is the man. Am I confident in the Father and I am working with God in the thing that I believe I can do to earn a living? And I know I can put food on the table for myself first. I can put food on the table for somebody else.
You do not get married simply because you love. You do not get married because there is chemistry, because you can have chemistry with more than one person. So it's about the fulfillment of purpose.
Hi guys. Good evening everybody. My name is Chike Ogonkwo. And you're welcome to the Unbothered Show.
You're welcome to the Unbothered.
So, Unbothered is a place where we come and have real conversations, real talk, and also talk about facts concerning marriages, relationship, and we are really trying to use these conversations to reshape culture. Relationship is very, very faith, should be very, very faith-centered. We believe so, and that is why we said, let us start this. And people who have questions, come, ask your questions. We have quite a number of amazing people who will always come on the show to talk about conversations regarding marriages, relationships. Are there misconceptions that you have heard or you have? Bring it on here, and we'll all talk about it, and I'm sure we'll all be blessed as we speak.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That's my amazing co-host. I'd like her to introduce herself.
Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. So glad to have everyone here. Beautiful faces. I'm going to enter the ground, but yeah. My name is Zora, and I'm the co-host for The Unbothered. We're hoping that we can have real conversations here today. Mind you, I'm not married. I don't know why you saying we're having marital conversations here, but I'm hoping that we have a couple of things to say that will be relevant, because we feel like pop culture is taking love feels like is the next best thing to attain to. There's a consciousness for everybody looking for a companion, and we just think that that's not really the basis that relationship, love, or even friendship should be based on. And so we want to have conversations here. We're hoping that you're open to listen to us, to ask questions, to speak with us as we go further. We have amazing guest speakers here today, two people that I love. One is the champion for relationship in Lagos, and the other one is the solicitor for lovers. Anyway, you see her. So yeah, let's get into the show proper.
All right. We have two amazing people. One of them is, like she said, he's really, really, I like to call him the relationship orchestrator. Don't mind me. Actually, he likes to call himself the worshiper. I think because he can sing, and we attend the same church, and he's one of our very amazing singers. So don't worry. So he's a worshiper. And fun fact, he has orchestrated 4 marriages. Let me explain. So he runs a community or a show that I used to call Very Single Lagosian. So you can see why he was one of the persons who decided to come here. He has spoken to people who are in love or who sort of are looking for love. And I think that's one of the things we want to be talking about even here, because is love something to look for? Is love something to attain? Or is love something to be given freely, hoping that you receive freely? But don't mind me anyway. And the other person, she's very amazing. She's a very dear friend, new friend, let me put it that way. Very, very amazing. She has a very strong walk with God. A barrister extraordinaire. She's an ex-choir. So when I told her one day, I said, I'll start looking for trouble. I have a new lawyer friend. But anyway, and like Zora also said, I am not married. Disclaimer. I'm also not a relationship coach. Disclaimer. But one thing we have come to understand is that culture will always play a big part of our lives whenever it comes to whether relationship, marriage, and all of that. But one thing we must not let is the fact that culture needs to be reshaped. If we do not look at some of the things that culture is pushing towards, whether it has to do with friendships, whether it has to do with relationships or marriages, and regarding the conversation love, I love all of you. I love you guys. Please now. So, my co-host will say something.
No, I think let's say, we love you guys.
We love you guys.
People don't love us. So why are you here? Oh, yeah, come and be going.
So there's something Zora used to say. She said, when we first started talking about this show, she said, we need to bring the consciousness of love back to people, because it is not just about the I love you, lovey-dovey kind of love. One of the greatest commandments God gave us is love your neighbor as yourself. And one of the greatest things Jesus Christ built his message around a lot of times is love. But I also tell people, as much as there's love, you also need to understand where you should not go against some of the things. But that's another conversation. But today, we're talking about love, loving your friend, loving people, and loving a partner. And the butterflies in the belly. Yes, it's part of it. Even though sometimes I say the butterfly dies. But anyway, let me introduce our guests who, like I said, one of them is the worshiper. And he has orchestrated about 4 weddings. And he's no other person than Mr. Isaac. Can you please walk off the stage, sir?
Very single Lagosian.
He's the founder of Very Single Lagosians, and he, through his show, about 4 set of couples met themselves, and today they are married. So
if you're single or you want to get married, here, please.
He knows what.
He knows what you should do to get a partner.
Do you want to say something to our guests?
Hi guys, good evening. If you're single, you don't have spiritual issues, I'm here for you. If there are no spiritual issues, you can get married.
Spiritual issues are issues that can be taken care of in marriage.
I don't know about that, but okay. Nice.
All right. Wow. Of what it is to say first, the spiritual issues.
I thought it was for better or for worse, but okay.
I need to check the kind of friends I make. These guys remind me after this show, please. No other person but amazing Lucy. Lucy, like I said, she's a lawyer. She's an amazing woman of God. She pray for you, yeah. Oh God. If there's problem in your marriage, I'm sure the Lord will visit the marriage.
Solicitor with the fire.
You can see her, a fashionista at that.
Amen.
You're welcome to the show, Lucy. So, anything you want to tell our guests today?
Jesus loves you.
I told you guys.
Wow.
If she pray for your marriage or relationship, oh God, don't worry. It's gonna be fixed. Don't worry, guys. I think we just move straight into the conversation. Don't forget, it's the Unbothered Show, and you can catch the show on all social medias, and also any of your favorite listening platforms, podcasts. Find it there. So guys, I'll leave it to my co-host to go ahead and do her thing.
Okay, so hi everyone. My first question is, if you're a Christian here, I don't want to assume, but if you're a Christian here and you're hoping to get into a godly marriage, can I see your hands up? My sister, why did you bring your head down? It's okay, like it's fine. Really? So, and I'm saying this because our first conversation is on a topic that I feel like I just listened to a couple of people speak about it, and I'm a very observant person. And let me just get into it. Our first topic is God says he's my husband, or God says she's my wife. And the reason why we're going into that is because I've heard a lot of things from Christian men, Christian women. Like, there are stories that a couple of us probably know who or someone has happened to. Some people have been with other people waiting for them for 6 years because God says. Others 12 years, and they see the same person walking down the aisle with somebody else, right? And that's another level of hard, break. That's another level of disconnect that we cannot even begin to fathom. But then we're putting it in sharp contrast with people who, I don't even know if we have anybody married in the house today. Is anyone married? Oh, hi. You guys look so good.
Amazing.
Oh my God. So, you know what I've been looking at the both of you here since?
I'm wondering what's happening there.
No, but it's more like we're putting in sharp contrast with the conversation of immediately I saw her, I knew. Or immediately I saw him, I knew that he was my man, or I knew that she was my wife. And so the first question, and I'll take it to you, sir. See, I told my mic, don't do that. Is, so you've worked with single people, you've, helped them and all of those things. You always have you always have events where single people meet up. And so the topic of God says, right? And now I want to come from an angle of facts. How should that spur a person into getting into a relationship or handling a relationship? Now, when you hear God says, does it mean that you outrightly now start waiting? Does it mean that you no longer... Because one of my issues with this is when we say that God says and we don't want to be disobedient, it means that we just need to go with the person that God has said that this is the person for us. Now, do we have an option to say no? And will it be tagged as disobedience or not?
Okay, we'll try. Good evening, everybody, once again. So I think that there are different levels to this, or different tiers to this, about God said, and if this is the person I'm going to go with, will I disobey? I think the first tier will be, do you know God first? And I think that the major issue that a lot of people face is when they want to marry, they ought to hear God from. So do you have a relationship when God says, don't buy that coffee? Or God says, travel to America or stay in Nigeria? Do you have that personal conversation? Do you know how you hear from God first? Because don't not have a personal relationship with God, and when it's time for marriage, say, oh, I dreamt. I saw something. I saw you. You can actually see the person, but maybe is it see but don't go. You don't know what it is. So that's the first tier. The second tier would be that, are you sure, really, 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 that God said, because from that first one, you're able to tell if you can hear from God. I sure this person should be my, you understand? God says you marry this person. I think the last tier is that this is a shocker. I think, now, respect to you, sir, you're married. But I think it's okay to know that the core of the love of God shared abroad with everybody is that love is God wants your input so as much as He wants His inputs. Don't you know what I'm saying? So it's possible that God says two people should get married and they will not work on each other. It will not work. Yes, it is. It's possible that, because me, I don't believe in one soulmate conversation. I feel like there are 7 billion soulmates in the world. Yes. And I feel like God also works with what you want. And you're able to, because attraction matters a lot. If you see somebody, if you like tall, thick women, you will not hear that God says you should marry that slim lady. He's only the thick person. He said, God said. So you know that there's what are your desires, actually. And sometimes God might also be telling you those are other things to look at. Maybe focus on peace. Maybe focus on journey. Maybe focus on... whilst we're much younger, we would think that I used to think that, oh, I'll just be working and I'll just see her. And it's possible, but that seeing her is majorly attraction. That, oh my God, this person, you can meet somebody. We even meet people that, even if you're in a relationship, you meet somebody that the conversation is so great, right? And you're like, oh my God, I like this person. You're great. But it's important that, and I'm saying this because you know that even what the Bible says about the reason why there is a strong ministry in evangelism to tell people to love God back and give their life to Christ is that God is not a tyrant. And so, as much as He says that, hey, I have died for you, see why I died for you, and come, let's go on this journey together. It's possible that we just woke up on this world that God is the Pharaoh on the throne. I said, you, come on. What are you talking about? Go to America. Do this one. Let's do this. But that's not the conversation with God. God is still telling you, hi, I did this for you, but I need you to see that I've done it. That means that God likes your input. So it's possible that two people love God, pray, and so how do you hear from God? That you're convinced enough to say, oh my God, I think this person is for me. And then you go on, and then both of you are on a journey to know that this is working. And maybe one person is not doing the work, or you have tried as much as possible, you realize that your character types are just really different. It's okay. Because God can orchestrate that somebody meets somebody. But you have to do the work. Because yes, you can have a marriage that God said, and it's not successful. And because it's not, how many of us have seen marriages that they love each other so much, but they also hate each other so much? And you're wondering what's going on, right? And it's possible that God crossed their path together, maybe so that something can work, but they have not worked on themselves. So I always tell people that marriage is not the end goal. A successful marriage is that you're able to love and work with each other and bear fruits. That is when you're actually fulfilling God's purpose. Even if you say both of you like each other and God said blah blah blah, if you don't fulfill purpose and understanding what you're supposed to do and love each other and have purpose, it won't work.
Deep stuff.
Now I see why 4 people married from his show.
Deep stuff. Deep stuff.
Listen, you have perspective to share that.
Good evening. Good evening again, everyone. So I completely agree with everything that you said. Do you know God? It's very important. And I think first things first is to establish that yes, God speaks. God does speak. It's possible for God to speak to you and tell you, who your partner is, tell you whether to japa or to japada. God speaks to establish that. And like you said, do you know God? Have you established the phone line with God? God wants to build you before He builds on you. So He's not going to start with the heavy things like He's your husband or He's your wife. And there's a story that my pastor shared. He talked about how when he was learning to hear from God, he would be using traffic. You start with the little things. Is there traffic on Lekki? Is there traffic here? Things that don't have any eternal consequences. Exactly. Start from there and build your rapport, build your relationship with God. And that way, when you establish how God speaks to you, when God listens, when God speaks to you, then you take it from there. And I agree that marriage is all about purpose. You do not get married simply because you love. You do not get married because there is chemistry, because you can have chemistry with more than one person. So it's about the fulfillment of purpose.
Okay, so I want to do something. I hope that you permit me. Would you permit me? Would you permit me? Because it's to my question. Okay, so I'm going to ask. The first day you met her, but I'm going to ask her first, sorry. The first day you met him. Because we hear men say a lot that when I met her, I knew. So I want to know, the first day you met him, did you know? Or did it take convincing?
I knew.
Why are you looking at it? So when you say that, because it takes me to my next question. When you say that you knew, right? Did he... That's the question. Like, how did you know that you knew?
Okay, so I believe that everyone has things that they like, right? And you know why you don't like a certain thing. So when you see someone that you like, even like in friendship, right? And you just say, oh, like we clicked because you've seen like characters, or you've seen some things that you already know that this is what I want, right? So that was it. Like, even for, it was not like relationship first, it was friendship. So I saw some things that I saw some things in him that I really liked about him. Like, okay, I like that XYZ. I'm like, oh, I could be friends with this person. I really love these characters in him. So yeah.
Before I got into a relationship. So who asked?
Sorry?
Who asked for the relationship? We're in a world where women do things. Who, like, how did he transition in the relationship? Did you say, I'm ready to just go here, or?
It's kind of
Mutual, abi? Okay, so it takes me to my next question, which is yearning. So recently, there's a propaganda to bring back yearning, social media guys. Twitter people are tired of being the hard guys. If you're on Twitter, say hi.
Hi.
People are tired of being the hard guys. So there's a recent conversation on bringing back yearning. Now, with godly relationship and people who want to go the godly way, how can people yearn godly? Is there a godly way of yearning?
Yearning.
Of yearning.
Yo.
So yearning, for people who don't, yearning is more, you like a person and you can actually show that I like you. You want to do things for that person. You don't want to wait till he calls you before you call, till he texts you before you text. Right? So how do we navigate yearning, but also knowing when to, at least for women especially, not to go and throw yourself at the feet of a man.
Is yearning, is it the same thing as manifesting? Is that what that means?
No, it's manifesting. So yearning is when you like someone and you act like you like, you show it, you express it, you're very expressive about it, right? And so with godly relationships, or if you want to do relationship in a God's way, how do you do that?
It's for females, right? That don't want to. Well, I'll say, of course, make it obvious that you're available. Character is everything. If you're stuck up, you're not smiling, you're always walking around like you're fighting with somebody, nobody is going to want to come and, talk to you or anything like that. And you can start, like, she talked about maybe friends. Do you want to, what you can do is actually with a couple friends and say, oh, can we all go watch a movie or something like that? You don't have to be, direct. Maybe that's how you yearn the godly way. But I would really say, like, if I'm taking it back to God, I would say, talk to God about it. I would say, if this is somebody that you have maybe heard from God from, and he's saying this is the person, allow God to present you to him.
So do you always have to wait till you hear from God?
Those who are led by the Spirit, those are the sons of God. You have to be led by the Spirit about everything, every single thing, even the conversations that you have, the places that you go. It's about living a purposeful life, being purposeful in everything that you do. So yes, you have to hear from God.
That's the reason I called your name. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I'm outing my friends, but yeah.
So in the conversation, in the concept of yearning, I'm not a hard guy. Don't worry. So when it comes to me, and my friends know I'm a lover boy. Sorry to say that though, if you don't like it for guys. For me, if I like somebody, I don't know how to beat around the bush. I yearn straight. But there was a time in my life where I did not used to follow the leading of God. I will do it anyhow. I like this girl who set it everything. There are different ways we can set it in the way of the world. And
what is the way of the world? I need examples, please. You always stop saying this.
Fantastic. Okay, this is why we have this show. Speaking real facts. So there was a time in my life, if I like you, I make it very obvious, and I can use either one thing. I will not use money. Yes, but we can go out, and I tell you, I make advances. I tell you sweet things. It can be erotic. Yes. Because I want to woo you. And I don't want another sharp guy to win me.
Feminists in the house don't like woo.
So I'm not apologetic about that. So I will go very direct, and I don't want to waste time because I like this person. And at the time, I was very young. And for me, is how do I get this babe? Because I like her. Serious relationships, when I came into say, oh, I want to have serious relationships. At that time, I said, oh, once I date this one nice, marriage straight. How old was I? You know, they told me my father got married at 21. And I said, who am I? I can do 19. Don't worry, guys. So, but I would say coming down now to this sort of conversations, especially when you know you are building a relationship that you want it to be based on God. I saw a conversation the other day, and I said, we are doing relationships, and when it's time for the marriage, God is an invitee to the wedding. After the wedding or marriage, there's no more God. But when problem comes, you start running around. So that is why I'm trying to say this. So I've realized that you need to sort of talk to God about it as a Christian. And I have given my life to Christ and also still falling out of it, don't worry. And went into relationships like that. And I said, oh, God, I like this girl. That it was just that one conversation. And I made my move. And I'm not saying maybe I did not put God at the center of when I was in the chasing. I was very subtle. I was trying not to, overwoo her. But I tried to say, let it be natural. But now one thing I've come to understand is understanding values. Because God wants you to follow through to something that leads to a marriage with vision and purpose. And when I began to think like that, because I'm a man who should have a vision, and I am going after a woman who can align to the vision that I as a man and as a leader of the home will want to. Oh, don't worry. We will come to questions. I like this.
No, why are you waiting for questions?
No, I'm coming. I'm coming. Don't worry, I'm coming. Let me just finish. Don't worry, I'm coming. I love this.
That's good that you asked.
So yes. So I believe that because I need to understand that. So when I go to God, I tell him I like this person, and I get the consciousness that yes. And also, when you begin to speak to this person and you know that their values sort of aligns with some of the things that you know that you can stand with and lead with this person or lead this person, I think it's very important to make that move. That's the way I see it. So, you have a question?
Oh, okay. No.
No, your voice will just be on the camera, your face will, don't worry.
Okay. Yes, so why should I align with your vision? The woman has a vision too. Everybody has a vision they want to achieve. So the same way you are thinking I should align to your vision is also the same way as a woman. I want you to align to my vision. I'm far from being a feminist. I'm actually quite traditional. I believe in feminine roles, and I believe in, what's the word for?
Masculine.
Yes, thank you. And I also believe in masculine roles. But then, I guess, oh, sorry. So let me let you answer the question. Let me not answer the question for you.
Okay, you guys too can respond also. So yes, I know. So a woman will have her own vision, and that's why I said I need to know that I have my vision as a man. Number one, the first every man should know is that he has a home to lead, and he has a woman that will come into that home as a helpmate. And the woman who has her vision, who definitely either in career, either in every other thing. And that's why I said something at the beginning is when you speak to this person, before the asking out, will you be my girlfriend, you already know where she's going to or the things she has been doing, where she was coming from. Then you yourself as the man, you know, can this align? Can we align together in my own vision as a man and hers as a woman? But the most important thing is, can you lead this woman and can she submit to you when it comes to marriage? Because it is the number one thing I know we have struggled with, or we are struggling with even in this generation. Because me as a man, when I come to that understanding to know that I am a leader, and leadership is service. It is not rulership. So I am coming to also serve her as a woman. And me being the leader, there's a vision I should carry for the family. And the vision I'm talking about is not even how to make money or business first. It's the vision I want for the family. That I know when people come, my children come out from the family, say, these people, their parents really have some certain strong values that have been instilled in them. And when people see the marriage, and I'm not talking about what social media has to say, I'm talking about when people who are really close to you guys as family knows, those guys, they have very strong beliefs in what they do, and their children follow it up all. So you as a woman, I believe many of us have gone to the best of schools. We have done all kinds of things as women, and I love it when a woman is ambitious. But the most important thing is, can you support the man to build a very beautiful home? And also when it even comes to the things of the calling that he is carrying, whether in business, whether in society, or any other thing. The number one thing God created when he created a woman from a man is, I brought a woman as a helpmate. But that does not now take away the fact that the woman will not have the things that she wants to do. And me as a man, being a leader, how can I also support her and also guide her in certain things that she's trying to achieve for her life? And the two of you can work in alignment. That is why I said values are very important. I beg. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Wait, before we go to this question, let's come. Hey, so you have a question. Wow. I love it. It's quite interesting. Okay, so I wanted to say something to what you said, which is very funny for something I heard this morning because I wasn't feeling well. I was at home. So I was listening to Pastor Gideon Danso. Is that his name? Yes. And so he had said something that I had never even seen in the Bible, and it was very nice, So we know the marriage between Isaac and Rebecca, and he was speaking about how when the servant went to get Rebecca and it was time for him to go back, and the family of Rebecca had blessed Rebecca, and then I'd opened the Bible. So this is Genesis 24. And so they blessed Rebecca, and this was what they said. They said, "Our sister, may you become the mother of thousands, of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the gates of those who hate them." If we look at this blessing, we understand that it is directly the same blessing that was confessed on Abraham by God on the life of Isaac. Which means that you cannot, as a woman or a man, be aligned or in marriage with someone that does not see the vision. Isaac, the blessing on the life of Isaac was that he was going to bear children. Abraham was going to have children, and his children will fill the world and have descendants and everything. That's the very same blessing that the family of Rebecca sent to her, right, on her way to meet her husband, because they were going to be the two that would start the lineage of Abraham to the rest of the world. So, as a woman, coming into the vision of the man as a helpmate is very important, because as much as you have your ambitions, if the man cannot for anything even have an ambition that's close to that, it won't work. Like you said, you're a traditional woman, so of course you don't want a marriage that you can easily say you want to wake up and go. You don't want a marriage where also you can say you want to do something and your husband says you can't do it tomorrow, because traditional women have this thing where they want to be under a man. Somebody like me, I don't have energy too much. So, you want to be under a man that is capable. So, so you say to an extent, I'm a very traditional woman. I'm not even going to lie. But the thing is, what I figure that women do not understand is, what kind of man do you want to marry? A lot of women don't have that outlined. Do you know who you want to get married to? Do you know the qualities you want to get married to? And when I say qualities, if you're a Christian, for me, it should be outlined with the Bible. Do you know why? I say this to people every time, that things can go wrong, but a kind person is a kind person, which is the reason why the Bible says to seek fruits and not the things that these people offer, not the money, not anything, but fruits. I say to some of my friends that for women who kind of go after the money of a man, it's a very small-minded thing, because a man that works for his money works for his money. He can fall tomorrow, but if he works for his money, he's going to get his money tomorrow. Right? So that money that you're coming, it's nothing to the man, because society has not meant to work for their money. It's even women that are coming into the understanding that you should have your own money, you should do things on your own. But society have taught men to work for their money. But the things you should look out for in a man is what helps you align to the vision of whoever that man is going to be, and what also helps your vision get aligned to yourself and God too, because it's not just about the man. So I think that for that question, fully the vision of the man has to be clear to you. So even if the person you want to get married to, what's his vision? It has to be very clear to you. And if it's something you can't do, or tomorrow you say that, oh my dad, I've stressed for this, but that you know from the beginning. So that if you're going to carry your slippers and run, you carry your slippers and run. And if something like God says, I'm just going to say this here. I understand God saying, but I also understand that everybody has a free will. So if God has said something like, oh, you have to be with this person, and I'm looking at this person, I'm looking at Isaiah, and Isaiah is like, Augusta, this man is not, he doesn't want to marry a film producer, by the way. I'm a film producer. I don't want somebody that'll tell me tomorrow that you can't go on set for the next 30 days. My marriage is going to break because I'll go on set for the next 30 days.
What if it now comes from the angle of if God has said or asked for it to be, then that could be focused when you saying that.
So let me put some context so that let me put some context, so it just helps. Especially, I'll touch on what you said, but just to be clear. So, and this is us taking it the biblical way. The scripture that says submit to one another. It's not just a one-sided.
Went
thing.
further to say so.
It's, if you read all the translations, it says, in fact, true story, one of my neighbors were fighting one, and the guy was like, you have to submit to me. I said, wait. I said, why? He said, because the scripture says, what fashion? He said, King James. I said, wait, let me show you NIV. Submit to one another. I don't know together, but that's not the point. The point is submit to one another. So it's not just a thing. And so I one of the things that I've learned about God's love is the difference between God's love and the love that a lot of people practice that are very mundane is what people practice is how I feel and what I get. What God's love is what I give and how I serve. You see the difference? What I give. And that's why I tell people, if you understand God's love, it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. You give everything, right? But are there issues where, and so from that context, in terms of following vision, you cannot marry somebody that doesn't align with your vision or doesn't support you. You cannot. I met somebody, and this woman has a successful business and community in the UK. Great stuff. We had conversations last month, and she was like, Isaac, blah, 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 blah. And I told her 2 words. We're on TV together. I was like, oh my God, you're doing so well. I love what you're doing. You know what she told me? She said, I wish my husband could say this thing to me. And she was struggling. And then she told me that she has built a successful business, but her husband just says that, I really did try. And she confided in me. I was like, can't even go and tell her too much now. You understand? But, and that's where it is. Does it mean that she doesn't have a role of, I'm very postmodern, so I feel like a lot of people should help each other. I love to cook, I love to clean, right? But are there ways where, it speaks to if the person is kind. Would the person do stuff for you? Would you do stuff for the person? Because in life, and I'm sure you guys know that you're married already, there are seasons. There are seasons where the wife has given birth, where you have to do everything. Especially if you live abroad. There's not even, before you afford it, I need to be well. Do you understand? Now, in terms of purpose, when you meet somebody, and why people say this is because even if individuals are very postmodern, the African society culture is still very traditional. Let me explain that. What that means is that when a man and woman marries, where is the man? What house is the man going to rent? That's the first question. The woman is moving into the guy's house. That's the first. In some cases, they contribute together, and that makes sense. But I'm saying that's why a lot of people still struggle with because to me they make the money. But trust me, I'm very postmodern. My sister, if you have a lot of money, I'll follow you. I'll follow you. So let me just even round off. So the idea is purpose has to align, and I will support you as you support me, and I support you. It's not even it's what I give and how I serve. It's no competition. There are seasons. I want to support you as much as you support me. I even love high-flying women, so I'm there. Now, to answer, hello sir, I think you asked a question about, what was your question?
No, I didn't ask because I was making a contribution.
Yeah, well, you said something.
I was thinking to God said, like, so if God said,
Yeah, so is what I spoke to before. Do not conflict the work that you have to do as a person. And don't substitute excellence for shalom. Don't do that. Don't substitute the work you have to do for it as well. No, don't do that. Like,
I think that also, I think to what he was saying, if as a woman, if the man is going to use the God said, so for someone like me, like there has to be evidences. Because following humans, this is not man. Following humans, right? It's like when we say God said, I think I give the example of what's your relationship with God first, right? If I listen to you as the man, I've never heard God before in your life. But now that I want to go on my production, on my set, and you feel like you just don't want it, and then you now say, oh, God says this, and God says you submit to me. I'm just like, from where to where?
God loves you, he can't say.
Like from where to where? Because I feel like for certain, that's why I'm very, for me, for women, you should be clear first thing on your purpose. Like, what would God have you do, right? Like, I know that if I use myself as an example, I know I'm being called to film as much as every other creative attribute that I have, right? And like, right now I'm building like a fashion tech product and all of those things. If I get married to somebody tomorrow that says, oh, you can't do film again, I'm going to look at you and like, why? And say, God said this to me. It's impossible for God to say that to you because, sir, I was dragged into this thing by God. Like, through a lot of voices, right? I ran away from film for years. But it kept coming back that God says, all right, you're going to go and do this thing, right? And then all of a sudden, sir, God is now saying to you, he not tell me to, that I should stop what he has sent me to do. So, Olumide, sorry.
I'll just add to that, sorry. So, just to add to that, people, the word God said has been abused a lot, right? So, and just like you guys were saying earlier, like, in terms of context, that people, emotions get into things and people say, oh, God said, God said. The reality is that if you follow the scripture, for anything that God said, it was affirmed 3 times.
Yeah.
So if God said, he will say to the other person, you can, and the simple thing will be, oh, let's pray about it. And he would affirm it. And the truth of the matter is that in you praying to seek that clarity as to what God has said, or what you think God has said, or what you believe God has said to you, he would affirm it with the very simple and mundane things. You can just be going somewhere and somebody who randomly wasn't part of that conversation, didn't have anything to do with it, just brings up a topic about that thing and it just aligns and it keeps in there.
Yep.
So just so that we just summarize this God said part.
I have a scenario. I know of a couple in Abuja. The husband said, the wife's like, babes, I'm going on a trip. And the man said, God said you should not go. Something that will bring us money. What's wrong with you? He said, don't go. No, God said we should not go. And she said, no, let's go. Let's go. And then she convinced it because it was very monetary. And they went. And he had an accident on the road and he became blind.
Oh my God.
True story. As a woman, and if you see that story, where do you want to start from? Fun fact, after some time, he regained sight. Maybe after 2-3 years. But he was completely blind. And he said, God said we should not go. You know why I'm saying this? As a couple, regardless of how you feel or whatever is happening, it is important to know how to work and trust and communicate with each other. That you can say that there's a situation and I want to go because how I feel, I want to go collect big money, and my wife that I trust, that is a partner in spirit with me, says, babes, we're not going. And I trust her enough to know that you're a son or a woman of God, and that you're not blinded by, it's not physical. You know that, no, as you say, make her not go, I know they go. That's why you need to know that regardless of God said, you need to know how. That's what I was saying about you cannot outsource the work of working, because marriage is a partnership. And the thing about collaboration, if you guys read the story about Tower of Babel, the most important version of that thing is, it says that God said, 4 people decided to build the Tower of Babel. If you read that chapter, the next verse says, and God heard them. He said, and the tower appeared. They did not pray. You just gathered and say, Hafa, we will build something. And God heard that word. You know what that means? The power of collaboration is big. It's big. Regardless, if you collaborate, that's why people say that they get success when they get married. The collaboration is big. So imagine if 4 of them said, no, God said now skyscraper. No, ark. No, you guys. So working together, do you understand? Even it's so important. And that's how you know how to communion and purpose. So that you don't walk up one, because some people have it and say, I'm a prayer man. I'm a this. God said I should see, but your wife not follow you. There's danger.
I want to speak to this. I used to use that word, oh, fall in love, and it's still it's still beautiful to say, oh, I fell in love with him. That's fine. But the Bible, if you read the Bible, it said walking in love. When you read it properly and now put it into context, how can me and my boyfriend begin to walk to achieve that bond that when we now get into marriage, we are in alignment? And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm speaking a lot to people who say they want to do kingdom marriage. When I started to say that to myself, I started to ask myself, what are the things I need to drop? Do I have any anger? Oh yes, I had anger. A lot of it. Oh yes. And I had to say to myself, okay, this needs to be fixed. It's not all gone. I'm still giving grace to myself and asking God, He's still teaching me. He's still teaching me. Do you snap? I snap. I'm talking about the very little things that's a lot of more deeper things. And when you start to do the work on yourself, and your partner also is doing the work, it's a continuous journey. When you even now start living together as married couples, oh God, I'm sure. A friend of mine, she used to work with me as my assistant. She said, very tongue-speaking, very strong lady like this. And she said, the first few months of my marriage, Chike, I kid you not, I didn't know what was happening here. But they were also walking in love. So that's why I'm speaking to the continuous work that needs to happen. But it's very important if 2 of you are aligned and you have a purpose that you know, okay, we have come together. It's not vibes. Trust me, it will happen and that alignment will begin to happen. But that's why I'm trying to address what he said as to the both of you working together. And it's not just work, or like you're doing the work together and you're trying to achieve that oneness. Because marriage is the only thing that 1 + 1 is equals to 1.
You still want to say something?
Oh, I don't think we want anymore.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other question?
I think Isaiah has first, they will come to you, sir. Okay. Lucy, you take this off first.
I think my question has been answered, but maybe not directly, right? So my question was tailored towards the direction of purpose, right? In the sense that I've experienced women, right, who in quotes have gotten married and they feel stuck, in the sense that, oh, and we say we want to do purpose together, let's do purpose together. That's what we men say, to woo the ladies, and we get married, and somehow along the line, their light gets diminished. Somehow along the line, right? We don't say it enough, but we see it, right? The man's light is shining all bright, right? But somehow along the line, you don't get to see that this person's light is also not shining as brightly, not illuminating in the sense of purpose that we've said that we're going to walk in alignment towards. And I think this was what happened with our older generation, with our mothers in quotes, right? Which is something that a lot of women are trying to use anger to fight now in this generation. And that's where we start having ladies who do not want to get married, or if they want to get married, at any slight inconvenience, they opt out because they do not want their light to be dimmed, right? So I'm asking this because of the word that we use in quotes. I'm saying this because I'm a man myself, right? The word that we use in quote, purpose. Purpose. Like, do we really get the essence of this purpose itself, right? Does it mean one light should go farther, and because the woman is a support, she's a support system, does that mean that she supports from the back and her light is not as bright as her partners, right?
Yeah. It's definitely important to define purpose, right? It's not a word that you just throw around, purpose, vision. What is the vision and what is the purpose? And, speaking to alignment, this is the way that I describe it. It's like two puzzle pieces that are shaped differently but fit perfectly. God is not a Confucianist. He's not going to put two very opposite people together or two very people that are exactly the same. Do you understand? That is why it's important to be led by God. When you trust God's provision for the person that he brings for you, you know that, this is the best person for you. Okay.
I just wanted to say something. Right? I'm saying this in the context of kingdom marriages, right? Because I've seen pastors' wives, right? Pastors and pastors' wives who do not feel in their marriages. So these people are Christians, they are believers.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of they are not led by God. It's not a question of, I didn't hear God.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, some of them heard clearly, this is my husband.
Okay.
This is my wife.
Knowing who you're getting married to doesn't mean that you've discovered purpose. There's something that Zora said that's very important, which is wholeness before marriage. Because what happens after you both get married and you discover purpose, that's when one person's light then diminishes, because all of a sudden it's like, but I thought you were following me here. Now you want us to go here. Do you understand? But when you've discovered, when you are whole, when you have healed, it's a journey, but you know what I mean? When you know that this is what God has called me to do. This is where God, for example, somebody that has heard God clearly and God said to the person, I'm planting you in Lagos. This is where, so you've discovered purpose. And you meet one fine boy that now tells you, I know I've heard God. God has planted me in Canada. One person did not hear well. Both of you, God did not join. Do you understand? He's not a Confucianist. He's not going to say to one person, you're not going to then abandon your own purpose. Like what she was saying, you won't abandon your purpose to then follow the person. So it's important that you discover purpose first before you enter into marriage.
Sure. Okay. Thank you for answering that. I know that purpose is a work in progress. We're all a work in progress, right? And you do not know how much of who you are. You're probably, let's say you're 30 now.
I was going to speak to that.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. Okay, so just before I continue, I feel like, again, there's so much focus on a lot of things that I feel like we shouldn't focus at as human beings. For example, this purpose and vision thing. Sometimes it gets so hyper intensive for us to want to know when God is also a God of process. But the second thing is that we need to understand time. When you get married and you are in a marriage, sometimes the man has to go first. And sometimes it probably will be you to go first. You have to understand time. I think that's what... I watched a movie earlier this year in January. And I sent a message to a very close friend of mine. I sent it to him. I was like, Kelechi, what the movie made me realize is, right now, modern day women, we want purpose, we want vision. But what we just want is to work. You just want to work. It's not really about purpose and vision. You just want to be able to do something. Because you probably have a family experience where your mother just didn't do anything and you kind of saw her. Like, we just have experiences that we don't want to relive. And that's fine. But it's not purpose and it's not vision. Postmodern women don't understand that purpose can also be sitting at home and taking care of your children. It feels, if you say this thing outside, it feels like, what are you talking about? But there's a time that you need to dedicate to children. And yes, it should be both men and women. But you cannot a man will never take the place of a mother in the house. So as much as you want to work, you have a purpose to be the president of Nigeria. If you do not wait for the time, if you think that because you got married and God has showed you that you're going to be a politician, also your husband should follow you to be doing campaign, and start doing campaign in the next 2 to 5, you will fail. You will sit down in the house. Because God also has a timing. And we don't look to the timing. And yes, we speak about waiting. We speak to waiting. But we also don't know how to wait. Because we think that waiting is as we're praying and we're going, solutions will just the show. It could just the show. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. But that's not how God works. So sometimes, even these women that you speak about, sometimes it's not really about diminishing. It's understanding the process and the time that you are in. And understanding. The one time I met Lawrence Oyo, I was speaking to him about something, and he says he doesn't like people that do not count the costs before they go into something. When you're going to marry a pastor, you count the cost. If you're going to marry a man that's going to be a politician, you count the cost. If you're going to marry a musician, you count the cost. And it's both ways. You count the cost. People do not count the cost. If you want to serve God as a Christian, but you want to marry someone, you count the cost. Because is he going to pull you away? Is he going to pull you in? What's the family like? How many children do you want to have? Do you have time for that? That's why I said again, modern women do not understand first purpose and outlining truly who do you want to get married to. And then when you get married to that person, do you understand there's also process in your marriage for time? Yeah. For time to do his bit, for the work to show. Because again if you ask some of these women, they are looking at Ibuko and Woshika. She's how many years in marriage?
Yes.
And you're how old? When did you get married? That you're looking at Ibuko and Woshika.
Some have not married, sir. You don't have a boyfriend.
If you want to call me out my full name. Right? Okay.
He wanted to ask.
No, before we move to his question, also he asked a question.
Oh, it's been answered.
So also speaking to purpose. Let me speak from the perspective of a man.
Okay. So no, I think you laid the background on it, but I'll just say this. We're in a time where a lot of people are confused. A lot of people's minds have been programmed by the things they see around them, from social media to society to influencers and everybody pushing different agendas. To put things into context, God created man for a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody needs to seek to know what their purpose is. The reality is that only 1% of the entire population, if we tell ourselves the honest truth, actually go full all out to understand and to seek that purpose. People then make purpose look like a complex thing. Like it's something that, I'm going to be praying to God, I'm going to do a dry fast for 20 days. Please, you can do that and God will speak to you. But the reality is that you must first understand who you are as an individual. Understand yourself. And it's all about self-discovery. People do not do self-discovery. People go into marriages expecting the marriages to fix problems that they've had from their childhood. People fail to realize that from the things they have seen from their childhood, it has programmed them to not want certain things. There are women today who would not want their husbands to be rich and wealthy. And it may sound crazy, but the reality behind that is that they have seen how wealth has destroyed their family, or how it destroyed the marriage between their husband, between their father and the mother. They have seen those things. You have seen people who, their grandparents, for instance, had 3 wives and it was a polygamous family, and how that complexity complicated different things. They've seen how their own parents now have gone from first wife to second wife, and they've divorced maybe the first wife, and they now have half siblings, and they are looking at all those equations. So people then come into a relationship or come into a marriage with those baggages, and everybody is then expecting to demanding certain things, or not realizing that they are working from the fears that they have inside them, and the traumas that they have inside them, as again sitting down to work with the person and say, guy, how far? How we go run this thing?
Yeah.
And that is the reality of it. So when people say marriages are failing and everything, there's some that I see from the beginning and I'm like, I don't see this marriage is gonna last. And when it happens, it's like, oh, look at it, you're a soothsayer, you say bad things. I said, no, it's not about soothsaying. You see two people
Their
together.
fruits.
The fruits are clear. And you see people who cannot come together to communicate. You see a guy who is very hot-tempered and wants to always voice out. You see a woman who also wants to voice out. And at the end of the day, those two people, it's going to be difficult for them to align. But guess what? God said. So God could have said that, yes, you people need to be united. But the reality is that you need to be able to put aside your differences and work together for a common purpose. Yeah. Everybody works in an organization. Every organization has a vision, has a mission statement. But people do not have personal mission or vision statements, and they do not see the purpose of those things in their marriages. So what then happens is that you then so so what then happens is that you have a lot of marriages, you have a lot of relationships that are from the get-go just in heading for disaster. Why? Because people are not coming together to look at what the core is. Our grandparents and the likes got married in those days. It was for better, for worse. I grew up in a neighborhood where the landlord, who was at the age of 70, was a former ED, and the person behind that UBA building you see, Marina, he built that building. He was the one behind that project. As a child, he would sit on his balcony and come down to open the gate for me if the gate was locked. What did that teach me? It taught me humility as a child. You don't have those sort of things now. Everybody's proud. Everybody is looking at, their egos and everything. And that is why most times it fits into the relationships. And those relationships don't last because everybody has an ego. The love is not the core. Because if you truly love, you'll be looking for each person's growth. You'll be looking at how to better each person, how to make the other party succeed. So I don't want to talk more. I think I've already spent 5 minutes.
So I have something quickly to say. Sorry, before I give to the person. I think that, and from a very holistic angle, I think that purpose is very individualistic, right? It comes from a place of who are you at the core. I had an experience with, and I think the major issues with what's happening in our generation is that there's an overcorrection from our parents to Gen Zs. I was in the car one day and I met two people that had been married for so many years. Or I didn't know yet, and they were arguing through their throats. It was so dysfunctional. The man was saying, madam, close that door. Man, I was like, what's going on? And so after a while, when we had an opportunity to speak, I was like, oh my God, how long have you been married? Before I could say Jack Robinson, the man said, for 35 years? I'm like, no, this is 1 year repeated 35 times. Because I don't see any fruit. I want to learn from that. Now, what I think personally, and how I think personally in my life is that it's so important when, as a person, you grow with God. Because the idea is, like you said, a lot of people come from dysfunctional places, and when they meet the person, it's like dysfunction meets dysfunctional, and then nothing's working, right? Because even in life's journey, what I think is God is leading you somewhere. You know how, have you ever experienced, have you ever had a dream or a feeling to do something, but you are not equipped for that place? I remember I sat down here and I just thought about flash thoughts. You're supposed to be a mayor in London. Don't know if people dream like that. I dream. No. Or maybe just something something weird. Or maybe you're an artist and you just see yourself at a big stage. Something that is very different from where you are. Now, the way God works is that is step by step. Do you know that if you think about it, maybe 4 years ago you had a leading to travel to London, but you did not go, and now you're in Ijora and you have leading to be the mayor, and then you're now looking and say, how do I feel? Because how it works is that it's step by step. Sometimes you have to, if God says change location, go to that place. Maybe after school they told you go and do masters. and then you're like, I'm not ready now. I'm building this tech business. I want to raise, and then 3 years later, you have not even raised yourself from the ground, right? And then you're wondering what is next, and then you're beginning to think something, and that's why we now say in Christendom that the years that the cankerworm has eaten, it doesn't have to be a terrible thing. Sometimes that God helps you. God comes from a place of mercy and it collapse time. You know what Lawrence Sawyer says? This year, Lawrence Sawyer's first service, he said we would release a lot of songs, almost 200. And the congregation said, no. You know what he said? He said, if you know what is in your books, you are far behind. When he said that thing, it was after he said that thing, I had decided, favor, all those songs started to come outside. He said it in January. He said, if you know what is in your books, you are far behind. Because God wants prosperity for you regardless. And let's not separate and say what God says, what you said. It's a union. God is also interested in what you want to do. So for relationship purpose, the idea is God has been building you. And what we have seen is that regardless of the dysfunctionality, you can excel. We have seen this in the Bible with Joseph, with a lot of people. It doesn't matter. In fact, it makes the story sweet. Because you can choose to say, I want this thing to be like this, or I never want to be. It's not very easy, but my point is choice is important for you, right? And then the truth is you have to have taken the lessons along the way. Whatever happens to you, even, one thing about God, even if you enter into a dysfunctional relationship, when you come out, it's Google Maps, it corrects you and redirects you. And you learn from that lesson. And then you now know that, moving forward, I will stop being emotionally dependent. I will stop doing this one. I'll learn how to love myself. I'll learn how to speak for myself. But it's a journey. And if you miss some steps, you have to pray for collapsing of time. To say, God, the experiences I need. Lastly, the idea of Abraham when God was even speaking to Abraham, he go to Abraham, I'll give you a son. And Baba did not believe. He laughed. It's not me. Are you not looking at me? I'm fertile rolling doll. I'm 99. What's this? And then he, very bad guy, impregnated other people. At that age, monopoly. Two things from that verse I've noticed. Two things. God said, and this is very funny, God says, after a while, God now says, I will give you a son. And then some pastors have built an entire industry on God. Abraham waited for 17 years. Can you wait on the Lord? It's not true. God was waiting for Abraham in the real sense. He was. Because the belief system was altered. And he needed to, that journey, he had not completed it. Now, the last thing he said that was really curious for me was, he said, when he had now given birth to Isaac, and God now said, no, he had not given birth. God said, I will give you a son. He said, I have Ishmael. You don't give me now. You don't forget. He said, no, I will give you a son. You know what that taught me? You can be doing some things that are not recognized by God. You can't. Can be going on that journey, and it's not God. It's not God's journey.
Yes.
To cause problem in the process. But before I come to her, please, I want to say something about purpose. One thing I know about purpose is there are processes, but it always leads to human flourishing. That is one thing I believe. When anything that has to do with your purpose, his purpose, her purpose, there is, at the end of the day, something beautiful is always better. Either it affects you or it affects lives of people one way or the other. It is just the processes that are different and timing.
Let's have his question.
1 second. I actually also want to build on something to do with purpose because, we say a lot of my purpose, your purpose, her purpose. I think it's important to actually know that is God's purpose. That we are all
right, guys at the back, please, because
we are all here to glorify God. So everything that we're doing is really God's purpose, right? And in a sense of it, we actually all have the same mandates: be fruitful, multiply, the Great Commission. And what I believe is that we all have the same purpose, but the vehicle which we use to fulfill purpose is what is different. Right. And so I just think it's important for us to bear in mind that, yes, everyone actually, we are all here to fulfill God's purpose, because there's a way that just thinking about purpose can feel so heavy. People are on a journey and they're like he said, you want to go on 20 days fast and pray. God actually wants to speak to you. You don't have to, do
all those razzmatazz.
Yes, not that you can't, but thinking that, I have to do that before God speaks to me. No, God wants to. So is it okay?
No, it's his question.
She wants to say something. It was up before.
You want to say something or a question?
Not a question.
Not a question.
Good evening, everyone. So, to tie up what she said, back to his question, I just want to read Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 10.
Lovely. Go ahead.
The Message version says, "It is better to have a partner than go it alone. Share the work, share the wealth, and if one falls down, the other helps. But if there's no one to help, tough."
You wanted to read that.
Union.
Tough. So I am in my response to his question, because he made a very valid point and gave an example where he says, maybe for instance, go to the pastor's wife, maybe she wants to be a banker. And sometimes one of the factors that changes the route, especially for women, is children. They have children, and somebody's like, who says to take care of the kids and all of that. Now, when they say share the work, share the wealth, it is that I really don't know that this dynamics is based for them, because one of the benefits of marriage is to mutually support one another. That's like the foundation. If you're going into a marriage for someone to just support you, but you're not supporting them, that's a selfish. For marriage, it's no longer I, it is we and us. That's the term that's being used. So if you have a personal opinion, if you're just personalizing everything about marriage, you're being selfish. Sorry, that's the only word that comes to mind. You have to support your partner, whatever it takes, because before you both, decided to be together, there was a dream. You had a dream, she had a dream, and now in marriage, there is a dream for the marriage. Sometimes you want to, for Christians, want to raise a godly home. What's a godly home if your wife is bitter towards you, or towards the plan that you've already had because you didn't keep to the end of the bargain, right? So, or what's a godly home if the man is also bitter towards you, like the example Isaac gave, right? How do you come out of that? So there's that part where you have to constantly communicate, because as humans, we drift from our initial plan. Things happen to us. Life will always be life, and so you have to come back to the drawing board or the drawing plan, right? In 5 years, it's going to change, because when you married, you didn't have a child, and in 5 years, you have 2 children. You're catering for yourself, your partner, and 2 other human beings, right? And then you have your personal dreams, you have businesses, everything that you do. So you need to find a way to make sure that everything aligns and nobody's suffering, because when there's this bitterness, the purpose of the home will not stand. Also in relationships. So I think that if you go back to the drawing board and understand that, like I said, share the work, share the wealth. If it's good for one, it's good for us. If it's good for none,
It's not good for anybody.
it's not good for anybody. So that's what I was about. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so my question was touched on by where you spoke about the fact that there will be conflicts, not conflicts. You spoke about, let me just say, trade-offs. Yeah. You spoke on it in a sense that when a guy is achieving something, somebody else is sitting back. When you spoke at it in the context of time and seasons. So I think one thing I just want to contribute to this is when it comes to a lot of conflict we hear in relationships. Number one, when we say purpose, a lot of times what we're talking about is hustle, work, money. So let's throw that purpose somewhere. We're talking about money, you understand? So I think to solve the purpose problem, yes, the purpose problem that we like defining is we need to understand that our expectations and what we call purpose is not shaped by anything divine alone. You know, a guy will say, my spec is a lady that has a big shape. Where did you get it from? It's Instagram. They didn't born you with that mindset. They didn't born you with that desire. You understand? The program. So when you say that's your design, or somebody says that my purpose is to make $1 billion. From where? Did God put you on earth for that? Are you sure?
Lead to help you know,
Like, are you sure? So that may not actually be your purpose. So I think we need to realize that. And the funny thing with purpose is it changes. In 1 year, in 10 years, you say, I don't want again. I want to do something else. So if you kill yourself, both of you kill yourselves over something that you are desiring now, what if in 5 years' time you don't want to do it again?
You need it again.
So the issue is not always the purpose. It's about what I always tell people. What I like saying is, date or marry someone that likes you or rates you. If you are with someone that is your person, and you guys actually genuinely like each other, you will be fine. You will be fine,
alright.
because at the core of whatever conflict you have, you know the other person has you in heart. You know the person has you in heart. And you have an understanding. And if you are rational people that know that you can't get everything in life, like you say, I want to be the best in my career. I still want to be the best mom. I still want to nurture my child to the 100%. I want to be the best dad. I want to be present, and I want to be $1 billion. Something will give.
Yeah.
So you need to discuss what will give. Agree on what will give. Be honest with yourselves. And lastly, when I say marry and date someone that you love each other, that is the bedrock. That's what you can control. The future you can't control. Marriage is always fate. The person that has sense today may not have sense tomorrow. So that factor is
Amen.
there. So the only thing you can control is where you are now. Ensure at that particular beginning moment, some of you are on the same point, because your mind, you grow together, you would change. But if that togetherness is there, and faith it with God, hopefully the person will still have sense in 20 years. You guys will be fine, irrespective of all the things that will change. Marriage is faith. It's faith.
Thank you so much. We heard from the married man in the house, guys.
I want to ask my fellow people, do we want to talk about what love really is?
I don't get TK's agenda. By the way, I'm single, so I don't think that I should put myself in this conversation. It's funny that he's single for someone who has orchestrated marriages.
Four.
So it's do as I say, not do as I do.
Oh my God.
I think what she said already,
What
already
she said was,
introduced
when
love.
I said marriage is the union, is the only union that 1 + 1 = 1. That is what that scripture she read actually is. And I recently came into realization of a lot of these things. And one of the best things I like to say is, love, like he said, someone that got your back. Love is, despite of the fact that one knot have loose in my head at this time, you have seen it. This is not you. I did. But I'll be letting you know that this thing is not right. But I'm giving grace, but also letting you know that this is not. We need to work on this. And it's always a will. Not you need to. Sometimes I say, okay, guy, you actually need to sit down and ask yourself, this thing, is it good? But I did for you, and I'm ready to do it this for you. And also the guy looking at his wife and saying, okay, at this time, you have spoken to me in certain ways. There's something you're not doing. But I did, and I love you. Another thing I believe that also kills some, is a very big thing, is uncommunicated expectations. Is one thing that can really affect the love that you have towards somebody else. When you are not communicating certain things, and we think, and we as Christians sometimes, God asks us to forgive. And you don't know sometimes in the forgiving, it's still piling up. That you're forgiving does not mean that you cannot communicate. And for someone like me who have had, I'm a talker, I want to solve it today, let's not part. Sometimes my toxicity won't solve it. But we're also understanding how you communicate those expectations is also a very big thing. So coming down to the conversation of love, love is me saying, I love you, even knowing that one day you can pierce my heart. Oh yes. If you don't like it, don't try it. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, If you don't want to get married, don't try it if you know you cannot do certain things. And if you know you cannot die to certain things that you know comes from self, leave them. And that's why culture today, at the beginning, what I said, we need to reshape culture. Even Jesus Christ, he did certain things with the modern day culture, but he brought something that's called renewal of their mindsets. These things that you say you do, these are better ways to do it. This is what God's plan is. But in the nitty-gritties of what makes you a people, I can't change that. It's not me. So we have to also come back to what is really love. And the purpose, like he said, I said, there's a book. I don't know if you agree with this about purpose-driven life. It also made me understand that anything purpose that is not transforming either somebody or people, or even transforming you as a person, not for the selfishness. And like you said, sometimes purpose is my business, my money. Okay, yes, purpose can also be you even making money. But is the money also for only you to be selfish with your money, and it's not also transforming lives? Because money is a tool. So it is a tool, and I like to say that purpose must either be transforming somebody, you, or one we have, because God is all about love of his people, and that love is how that love brings you out from difficult situations. Yeah.
So I have a question on love and money. That's so important, guys. That's Chooks over there. I led him to Christ. Please put your hands together for Chooks. I have a question about love and money. And I think that in 2025, marriage is a business decision. From time. Right? And I think that people are, especially because if you're of a social class, whether I like it or not, you want to marry somebody in your social class. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about money or no money. I'm just saying you would not necessarily fall in love with the mega down the streets. You just want somebody that you can communicate with, can make money, can do other things, right? And then we know that money is a journey. We know. The idea, somebody said something about knowing how to make it is the more important. Whether you come down today or you go up tomorrow, just know how to make money and provide. The role of man is shelter, provision, and what's the last term? GK, protection. Answer these questions. So, my question is, what happens when your spirit tongue-speaking partner is at a phase in their life where they are, and this is man and woman, either ways, they are not necessarily meeting your expectations about money. Not even expect, sometimes bare minimum. Something happened, maybe they lost a job, or you guys moved abroad into a new city and they have not been able to sit well. And if you live in the UK, you will know that two people have to work. When you embrace feminism, two people have to work. It's not, you even say, I need you to work. I support you. It's money, don't worry, it's nothing. UK people are very, if you go there, it's not even one light for you. We're moving on. So it's so important. What happens at that moment when both of you, somebody is not necessarily meeting up? And it's not just meeting, it's that maybe they have lost their meals. Maybe they are not able to, maybe they are coming out of somewhere. And these things happen, sometimes to women, sometimes to men. Sometimes, maybe after childbirth, the woman has not yet come back. And we understand that. And that's very, therapy and all those things. But what happens when there are pressing needs, where both of you need to move to the next level, but things are not shaping? And I am team communication in a very nice and kind manner. I am team support. I'm team, babe, we can do better, right? So even if you solve that one, what happens? What happens during that waiting period? What do you do?
Should we answer your question?
I'm genuinely curious.
I feel like I want to try to answer this question, but I feel like it takes me back to what I said earlier about a timing phase. And that's why it's very funny for me, this thing we do nowadays, where we write our vows. And where people, they say for richer, for poor, say for richer, for richer. That's a very funny concept to me because what it just shows is that we don't understand why the vows were there in the first place. Because it will never be for richer. Even Otedola never had for richer all his life. Even coming from a very rich parent, there was a time where he went low. So, there was a time where he
had to sell 187 houses.
How many people read as much stories to know that it's not about for richer?
When you want 1 trillion, almost $1 trillion naira for the banks in Nigeria, every CEO is like your neck.
Yes.
Both internationally and locally, and white people looking at you, your kids are looking at you, and you're
Like, Oga, sir, what's all this? Right? So when I see people do that thing, like, of course, the vows are, very sweet things, very sweet concept to say to yourself. But the reason why those vows for richer, for poorer, and all of those things are there is because it's telling you for the last time before you enter this biggie that...
Sorry, I vows?
The vows from they're from the Bible. Yeah. So that you know that, my brother and my sister, are you sure that if this man becomes paralyzed tomorrow, you're gonna be there? And that's exactly why I say some of the ladies especially who want to get married to something in their head is because of the experience. Someone will see her mom take care of her father, was probably paralyzed for years, and say, oh, my mother suffered. She didn't get to actualize her purpose. And I'm looking at you like you are mad. Your mother suffered for taking care of your father. So what she should have done? Gone to work at the bank and become a CEO, and then the husband should be there. That was when you know that your mother came into purpose. We don't think about a lot of things that we say. We have beliefs in our head. We have things that we've dreamt. We have dreams. And it's not bad, but again, it just takes a lot of us away from reality. And this K-drama is very bad. For most of us, K-drama is very bad for most of us. We should stop it. Or if you are watching K-drama, you know that it's script. Someone dreamt friction, and then they put camera and said action. Right? So it's like for the question that you asked and what we have said, a lot of people, he also said it, right? Purpose for a lot of us is work, and we want to make money. And you want Tech Cabal to put your name on Instagram and said you raised for your first series how many billions, or you want it to be said of you that something significant happened in your life, which is great. But if you come at a time in your life where the reality is that the husband that you loved so much and you got married to cannot take care, provide at the time, and it means that you have to be the one working, it doesn't make him a lesser man. Doesn't make your marriage less purposeful. Doesn't make your marriage less lovable. And you will only come to that place if you are... I was listening to FD the other day, and he has said something. He said, people have values, but people are not convinced of their values. So if they ask you what's your value, say, oh, kindness, patience. But then if you're stopped in front of a traffic light, and then somebody says, pa, 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 or the next person or a bus driver zooms, and you're like, why am I here? Myself, let me zoom. It means that you're not convinced of the values that you had. Because if your value says the red light says stop, it doesn't matter if 2 million people go past. The red light says stop. So if you have those kind of things for your values, it still means that you're not convinced of your values.
I get it.
It still means that you're not convinced of your values. It's like if your values is like, oh, you have to be kind to somebody. I met someone one time, a person said, oh, kindness is different from niceness. Okay, what's your example? I can ignore anybody, I can talk to anybody anyhow, but when it comes to my partner, I have to be kind to them. That's nonsense. That's not kindness.
I have to be kind to everybody.
You have to be kind to everybody. If you believe that's like I said, if we believe in the principles of the Bible, and if that is what is convincing or helping you shape up your values, then you right?
Love is kind.
I'm just speaking about me personally.
You don't have to be kind. You're saying you don't have to be kind to everybody.
I mean, I don't like.
Are you sure you're not confusing niceness with kindness?
No. To me, they are more or less the same. But,
It's not the same thing actually. You don't. maybe you don't have to be nice to everybody, but you actually have to be kind to everyone. Yes. And it's important to have empathy, no?
I don't think you have to have empathy to be kind. I think that you need to stop. Sometimes. You just need to stop to think. Because sometimes you might not have empathy. Because empathy is sometimes an emotions that you can't have for everybody.
No, empathy is like you see.
You want to step into... Yeah, exactly. Because empathy is not the same thing as compassion.
Hey, God. We have gone to a part of argument on this conversation.
So guys, can we wait? Can we wait?
Anyways, just to finalize what I was saying,
yes.
What I was trying to say is that your question to if your partner is not in the place to be able to provide, man or woman, I think it should take you back to the basis of why you married this person first, the values you hold, and then you have to become a person that understands time and season.
I don't think you've answered it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
That's like my answer.
Yeah.
Let me say...
So you answer. What I'm talking about is, I hear you on that. You know when somebody says, how do you overcome masturbation? Somebody says, pray, read your Bible. It works. But if somebody's asking you, what are the practical steps? So when I feel this way, what do I do? Do I run away from my house? Do I call my friend? You understand what I'm saying? No, but so what I'm saying about that is, I hear you. There's, again, convinced of your values is one answer. But my point is, when that thing happens, and I'm saying this not because I don't necessarily know the answer, but it's just so that we can discuss also. It's important to know that when you are telling, let me use me or GK. If I say, GK, Alpha, don't do this thing. It's not good. But GK says, I hear you, but keeps doing it. What is your character or disposition at that period? I know that it's affecting the entire household. That so there are 3 stages. This person is going through this thing. Oh, I empathize with you. You're going through it. We are going through it. No problem. This person sees that we need to do better. Oh, babes, we need to do better. No problem. This person, I'm now trying to get you out, but you're still stuck in that place. My question would be, what do you go do that moment? Because it's affecting the outcome of a lot of things that are happening around you. So what do you do? Like, SS is fine, but what do you do?
Well, I'm just giving my same answer, which is, if you put me in that position, I was about to ask how many people have stayed with a roommate. Sometimes your roommate is going mad, crazy. Sometimes they are not bringing food from their house. You both of you are living together, people are cooking together. People are supposed to be helping the food stuff in the house together. But one person, it's like, my father and my mother don't have now, they can't bring. What do you do?
What if your rent is 2 million? You have brought 1 million. The landlord is not saying, your roommate is making money, move out. What will you do to your roommate?
What will you do to your roommate? Auntie Alpha, are you gonna move out? Or should I get somebody else?
That's what we're saying.
That's what, if we take it to a married term, so when you get into marriage, that's what I'm saying, that when you get into marriage, and you said you
figure it out. You're already in it. There's no way out. You figure it out.
There's no way you're running to. Yeah. Except if you have, from the very first day, you already had a back door at your mind. That's like there was something that happened on Instagram where the lady had left her husband because for 3 months he couldn't even give her money for upkeep, and she told him straight up that that's not what we agreed before we got married. That you said you're going to be the protector, the provider, and I'm not going to be spending money in this house. And then 3 months, the first month, she gave him money, and she was like, I can't do this again. I can't give you money again. And she left.
Just for 3 months.
For 3 months, because she was like, she can't do it. Because now she has to be doing her nails by herself. She has to pay the bills. She has to take care of the children. Everybody was insulting her. But we're talking about communication. Yeah, she communicated that she cannot do it now. Abi?
So I think another thing that I know can also help. The reason why one of the things I say
is help. Saying what are you gonna do?
And yes, I can help the person in marriage. That is, I know they listen to my wife, and I know I need to do something. My wife keeps telling me. What my wife can do is, it's very important. I say, who does your husband submit to? Who do you as a woman also? Who do you as a man? Who does your wife submit to? It's very important to know somebody that if you go to the person, they know go, yeah, I'm outside. This person, when he calls, no, please, I would like to see you. and he sits your husband down. Maybe your husband is no more hearing you. One thing I've lose in the ear. Maybe it's Chike Okonkwo. Something I've lose in Chike's ear. That one person that she knows, that she goes and person go, Chike, come here. I have people like that. Somebody I'm even senior to is even here. One of them is here. And they are, yes. When he call me first, sometimes you decrease. I know this is something that happen. But there are some other people that I know, if they tell me, I want to see you, I know something has happened. And I know I'm messing up. That's one way you can handle it. Sometimes, two of you cannot iron that issue out. You know when people say, I don't bring third party into my marriage. Sometimes.
Bring third and fourth.
Sometimes. Yeah. That is something that's why I say you need to know somebody who they are submitted to. If that one does not work, how patient can you be with the person's excesses? What is love?
So I think somebody has finished.
That is why love is the things he talked about. I know it is hard. Yes, it's hard. So some of the practical steps that I can take can be different from some of the practical steps that you will have to take. That's why I say understand the dynamics also of your marriage is important. But I know another thing that can help is who can you go to assist you in getting your husband or your wife in this situation?
You have in mind.
Is purpose career? Let's start from that question, because I just feel like you can actually express or fulfill purpose in whatever career or whatever thing you choose to do, because the purpose doesn't really change. It's just the same thing and you keep fulfilling it. But I see that when we talk about fulfilling purpose, we attach it to like the person is now rich and famous. So it's almost like you can't fulfill purpose and we don't have money. But we don't also think that maybe you can have a successful career and still not fulfilling purpose. So that's where I wanted to bring up the difference between purpose and career. Because I think that if I want to today decide that maybe, what can I even decide to do? I want to be a makeup artist. With dedication, trust me guys, with good dedication, within a couple of years, I can achieve it. And I can do it very well. But the thing is, I can also choose to change after doing that to another thing, but I can still keep fulfilling purpose in whatever of these things I decide to do.
100%.
So that's just what.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that like the underlying tone is that purpose generally doesn't change. It's how we express it. Because at the end of the day, it's about love. We're all here to love one another, support one another.
Human flourishing. I would say
impact, human flourishing. That's the underlying purpose. So
is not
it's
changing
how
or helping
everybody chooses to express, or the things that interest you, the things that you like and you're drawn to, or if you believe that God has led you to do something, it's those things that then bring about the purpose. So I think we believe that purpose stays, it doesn't change. But then the ways you express it, the ways you choose to, the way you choose to do those things, is what can change.
Yes,
definitely.
100%.
I can't wait for this.
Yeah, no, I was just concurring. I agree 100%, which was why I said that we all have the same mandates. It's doing whatever God has called you to do, where He has planted you to do it, right? Because rebellion really is God asking you to be a makeup artist to fulfill purpose, but you decide that you want to be a politician. You're out of alignment, right? Because everything is to glorify the name of God. So wherever He has planted you, that's where you are to be to fulfill purpose. So I agree.
If I'm going to say something, and that's actually the point I was trying to make, is that deciding to be a makeup artist could be God leading me, could also be purely my choice based on what I think. Okay, I like this market, I like the art of this, and I want to do it. I just like it now. I've decided that this is what I want to do now.
Absolutely.
I can decide that and I can keep fulfilling purpose. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the prayer of I need to fulfill purpose on its own is also a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're here thinking I need to what is my purpose? I need to discover purpose. Exactly. right? But then it is in the everydayness of life. And that's just the point I wanted to. But then in terms of career, I think you can decide. That's your innate ability as a human being. Whether you are a Christian or not, you can decide to stand up today and say, I want to do this, and I'm going to achieve it. And the truth is, with the right amount of dedication, funding, whatever you put into it, you can achieve it. But the thing is, fulfilling purpose, I think, is independent of this success in the career. It's more about the journey doing there, the impact, the human flourishing, the essence of it. Are you really happy that you are touching lives? You're happy that you now have the funds, because philanthropy may not also be fulfilling purpose, but that's a different conversation. Thank you, guys. Well, there was a part I heard that said the rent is 2 million and he has 1 million. I'm like, well, I don't know if it is like his rent or my rent. It's our rent too. It's like a collective homelessness, which is
bringing it to marriage.
I was making an example. That's
no,
why.
I know that. That's just
bringing it to marriage.
Yeah,
because that can be an issue.
Yeah. And so, yes, was an example of something.
So, I think that, like I said, I understood where I was coming from. Well, one of the most important things that was, and Chike touched on it, is that when you are getting married to whoever you want to get married to, or your relationship, note that the person must be malleable. You must be able to not just communicate. You must be able to say, babes, it's not in the big things as rent. It's in the, let's get coffee, let's get latte together. Do you understand? Let's not get latte. Let's go and drink water at home. And the person will agree with you and say, okay, since we have made that decision together, let's make. Do you understand? And so those are things that you need to watch out for whilst dating. Because you need to know that this person, we can agree that we're not going out today and nobody's flouting that rule. Not because I'm scared or anything, but because we're in agreement. So those things would go, because a lot of things can bring disagreement. Even where the child will go to school can be an issue. But if you don't know how to, in the little things, tell yourself, let's do this because of this. I used to date somebody that had to give empirical reasons. It was a lot.
Define.
And then finally for me, I think
discuss.
The question about purpose has been answered totally from you. I get it, and it makes a lot of sense to know that your purpose can be one thing and then you can express it to different things. The idea of thy kingdom come is we will go to heaven, we'll come back for the new earth. And the idea is that whatever that God has put in our hands to do, there are three things that fuels kingdom. There's ministry, there's talent, and the last one is, I think, edifice. To understand that, somebody was telling me one day that even this building here is purpose. That God has laid in somebody's heart to do this so that people can meet.
Here.
And it's purpose. It's not only you that's going to North Colombia to preach the gospel. Right? Some people is talent, some people is this. But in different expressions of how those things happen. And like what Chuk said, it is you and God. So you can have to know that if you even want to become a makeup artist, it's God that is leading you to say that you have passion in this thing. But the idea is that you are saying, God, there are 30,000 people in Lagos. Give me. Let me help them. And that's the journey that you and God can. The moment you begin to think like a king, God's hand is there. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Amaka says we're going to the round of questions. Amaka, I don't know if anybody has questions.
You guys have questions? Questions, not contribution. Questions. Short, please.
Once I was blind, now I can see.
Okay, so my question stems from a conversation I've had some years back with a couple of friends. And the conversation was around finances, right? And I was saying that before entering a relationship, right, if a man decides to sort out his finances before choosing love first, is he being self-centered or is he just making an irrational choice? Now, I asked that question because I said that okay, this is what I said. I said it that because a man has chosen to sort out his finances before he puts love in front of him, is solely because he loves himself. And I'll tell you for free, his career and personal development is more important than his lover. if it's a failure, no one will stay with him. And Yahweh should not guilt trip men for looking out for themselves. Provision is embedded in his identity. It's part of what makes him a man. Don't belittle it because you can sort yours out. His journey is different. He will run his race at his own pace. I had a lot of backlash because I said that. Because a lot of people felt like, but she's doing okay. You guys can still work things out together. I mean, these are conversations that happen. You're dating a lady who is earning way, way more. You're not earning. You're trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to sort out your life. You're trying to gain your faith. You're trying to survive. Right? But then this person loves you. This lady loves you. And you're saying, no, I can't be in a relationship with you because I don't have my finances sorted out yet. Right? I'm like, I want to sort out my life first before I decide to step into a relationship. Right? So I'm asking now.
Response to you so that we're just clear. The idea of man sorting out his finances, and I can speak to it because I'm a man. The main answer, I think we've said it before, is that a man needs to know how to provide. It is a basic life requirement. Whether you are selling puff puff or you are selling cheese ball, know how to provide. The extent of which that provision comes is dependent on you and whoever. Now, it's better. The idea is if you also there are a couple of things that I need to like I look out for men, and you know how to survive. Money is coming because marriage is a financial journey. It's not the wedding. You give birth, you marry your kids. You need to know. You must not build 3 houses in Banana Island, but you need to. And most times is having a skill and developing it well enough, or running a business and developing the prospects of it. Because the truth is that sometimes when you get into marriage, you blow up. I know a friend that ran a business. No man, made some money. The day he proposed, his wife introduced him to a business that gave him 120 million. His wife. But before then, if he didn't take that step, I don't know, then I'm not God. But my point is, but there's structure. There's structure. If you didn't have that, and the issue I think most women have is that a lot of men are not, purpose or whatever we call it this time around. It's not defined. You're just like, you're talking, and yes, and when you have conversation, if you're not shallow, you know that this person, you're running. Even some people say, I run a startup for 4 years. What are you starting? Do you understand? Like, you're not doing the right, and you need, and the truth is that God has given us the capacity to get capacity. That's the word. You get help, get inside an accelerator program. If that's what you want to do, put all your efforts in it. But you must not necessarily, so it's not necessarily a selfish thing. The idea is that it's not what defines you. You are who you are. You are a person. You can provide, but your role is not tied to money and sex. That's not what your role is tied to. Your role is tied to providing, protection, purpose, all of those things. Yes, but figure out, I tell men, you have to. Because you find a woman that is doing so well, she's top of her department, blah, blah, blah. And you want to make her stay in Ijora at a 1-bedroom or something. And you know that is not, and these things happen, right? It's fine. You can be at whatever stage in your life, but somewhat have a level of, babes, okay, and be transparent. I don't know why people lie. Some men lie. They lie. They say we can do big wedding.
I want to speak to this also. I understand that times and season may have changed a bit, but sometimes we speak to these things like as if poor men don't have wives and children. Yes.
You want to stay with them and marry
like
them.
We'd like to think that people who are just well-to-do, who are married, they're not happy. See, please, guys, I'm a guy. There are seasons when things are tough. I'm an entrepreneur. Sometimes I'm not earning as I think I should. Aesthetically, I may look good. But are you telling me that people who don't... are you telling me that people who are just well-to-do, they are not in marriages and they are not happy? They are. My guy, people who sold those ideas to us, I was once a victim of this mindset. So, I like what you said, personal development.
But is it okay for you to marry an entrepreneur that is not sleep?
I don't like. Wait,
Don't try
I'm
it,
coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Let's not
try
change.
it.
Hold on.
Don't try it,
Hold on. I will infuse it. It's okay. Next show. Thank you. So let's know that money is not the conversation first. It is me as the person who is the man. Am I confident in the Father and I am working with God in the thing that I believe I can do to earn a living? And I know I can put food on the table for myself first. I can put food on the table for somebody else. But secondly, you must understand that the power to create wealth, because now is wealth I'm talking about money or whatever I'm talking about.
Really.
When you have the conviction that you have set a vision that you know, oh, I can be here, but processes might be changing along the way. But you must have that mindset first that you can do it. And secondly, it is not that money that will define the marriage. And thirdly, a man, Isaac said something that you must provide. As a responsible man, also that believes in God, you know you will provide. You know that you will bring what at least. Your wife also can also assist, and you will not be prideful not to accept it. Yes! You will not be prideful not to accept it. So what we will do is that at the level where we are, always believe as a man that if you genuinely are speaking to a woman and you are communicating to her, this is where I am at this time in my life, and you know that this aligns and you have checked it well, values align and all of those things, you can start the marriage. See, I saw a marriage some few days ago and they told me how they got married. I'm like, that's all.
Things are very important, guys. So because
That's why I'm
guys
driving
true
out.
story. True story. Let me tell you a true story. Wow, something happened to me last year. So true story, and Chike, speak to this. True story. Something happened to me last year. I was in a place where that guy, don't worry, I did. Something that happened December. I had a circumstance. Thing you went like this, and because I'm a business person, and the thing there. So January, February, broke, right? Broke. Right? So broke. But I thought about something. Bad planning. Because I actually thought that, and I pitied myself. If I was married to somebody now, I would be annoyed with myself that I'm giving this excuse. It doesn't mean that there are some days that you're not, but I'm saying that you can also plan. Now, what that experience has taught me is plan better. Otadola's example, Elosa, that you gave, you know how he came out of that? He sold 187 houses in this Lagos. So imagine if he didn't have good planning, he would have killed himself. And that's the truth. So what we are saying is that there are days where things are low, we get it. It happens to even if you're a salary earner, you can be out of job. But it's important for a person, both man and woman, to plan. They didn't teach us financial literacy. We learned this thing on the streets. Nobody taught us in school. But it's important to, especially if you are 3 people died in my extended family. Okay, I'm doing better. That's where I came from burial and I know how much I spent. And the thing just came, wow. I have to tell the person, like, why did you die now? We'll talk about that later. But you get my point. Because you spend money. You spend money. Lagos, they don't care. Me, I'm not really heavy. I spend money.
Okay, you have something.
So I said that to say that my perspective is this. If I'm with somebody, you should never have to guess if you're doing well with me. Right? 3 things that I want you to experience is peace, relief, and progress. So I say that to say that. And also, I also recognize that money is a defense, just as wisdom is a defense, and just as God is a defense, right? So it's imperative that I have those 3 defense systems. Now, he said something, as a core of a man, provision is embedded in your core. I'm asking this because starting out, you're trying to survive, and then you're falling in love along the way. And you're trying to put yourself first that, wait, I want to be stable enough to make sure that provision, exactly my point, right? Why the other party wants marriage, why you do not want marriage. Do you understand?
Now, let me tell you something, man. Oh, yeah. I do not like the conversation of, as a man, you have provision embedded in you. God did not embed provision in you. Let me tell you why. Hold on, let me tell you why. You as a man, when God said something about a man and a woman, what did he say? He said you are a leader. And culture has put it that the first thing every man must is provide. And when culture speaks provision a lot of times, he only talks about money. And that's why the pressure of money has mounted on a lot of us as men. I'm coming. That's why the pressure has mounted on a lot of us as men. Now, of course, I'm a many people man. And I love to make money. But let me now tell you why that pressure has to reduce on you. As a man who is coming into that point where you want to get married. Bros, you know that you will need to eat now. You know that you will need to maybe stay somewhere at least. Even if not so fancy. And the truth is, sometimes, that's why I say, when you meet a woman, conversations are important. Don't throw away the fact that, I'm not yet there, and let me leave her first. And you like a woman, maybe God has presented that to you. Lay down your case to her. Oh, this is me, this is what I'm doing. My brother, you are I want to know that as a person who is an intelligent young man, and you are working with God, He will help you because you have something that you have to do. See, God will bless you. Yes. He will bless the work of your hands. I have seen many men of old who, I would like to say, oh, this is our time. Things have changed. Even if you think things have changed, it is still happening. People are coming into wealth, even in marriage. And I want us as guys to not let that pressure of, I don't have the money yet. Do you have a vision and you're working towards something that will earn you a living, even if it's a job? Are you building yourself so that you can go ahead in the job? A woman who sees that, women love security. And when a woman sees that in you, a good woman, because even the Bible said a good woman is hard to find. That's the same way a good man is hard to find, though. Yes. So, but let me tell you, one thing I have come to agree is that me as a man, I know that I have killed the concept of money is what makes me. And if you're a woman coming to me, God bless my girlfriend so much. If you're a woman coming close to me, you should know that Chike Okonkwo is working to make sure I am financially okay to take care of you. But this is where the stage I am now. So my brother, yes, it's important. Money is important. But you will get there.
God bless you. I'm there. You will date soon.
I think the last thing that we want to say, and I say to Azara as a woman, is whether you like it or not, women see visionary men and women stay with visionary men. You just need to take down your pride. There are still women who will stay with a man who have nothing till he becomes something, but that's only because they see.
He doesn't have nothing, he has something. It might not be money.
Yeah, it might not be money, but he has something that they see.
Yes,
I know someone that's my friend, like her husband now is one of the estates chairman of this big estates from this lake. But when they started, he had nothing.
Yeah.
She was basically the one working. So forget everything you see on Twitter, first of all. Twitter women talk a lot, but they do the opposite. Right? So forget anything you see on Twitter. People or women who see you or who see the vision that you have will stay. The only difference is once you start to rigmarole, let me tell you, once a woman wants to get married, she knows what she wants. If you are doing too much, she will leave you and go and meet the person that is ready to communicate that, my dear, this is where we're going to. It's not here now, but it's where we're going to. But if you are still doing, I want to make all my money first before, she will leave you. No time.
You almost answered my question when you your last statement.
I figure that I almost answered everybody's question. I'll try to stop doing that.
So now that's before the marriage. You're seeing the potential, right? And you say, okay, the potential is there. Should I go for this person or marry this person? What if you now marry? The potential self has not come, right? And you're still hoping for that potential. And men have ego, right? So, and then you see this lady, she's working, she's doing better than you, and she's still praying and waiting for that potential. And sure, people are praying together. But then along the line, the person stops even believing in himself and that potential. And now
the problems that he spoke.
Which is what I asked.
And yeah, so that's where I was coming from. And then stops. And then you're still pushing and believing in the potential, and there's nothing coming forth? Like, do you still believe the person should stay? And because when you said for better, for richer, for poorer, it's fine, but you are poor. You still want to remain poor. You still want to stay there. You don't want to make effort. There's no richer. There's no hope for the richer. You just believe that you should sit down and it should fall on your laps. For example, another example I want to make is, you said someone gets paralyzed, maybe a man gets paralyzed, and the woman has to start taking care of the man. What if the doctor now said, if you continue doing therapy, you can walk, and the man still wants to lie down on that bed to be for the wife to take care of him? Do you still want that woman to stay because they said for richer, for poorer, for like these are the things, like there's no effort. So when you don't see the effort, you still stay because it's trying times and the challenges of life.
So yeah, I want. You want to say something?
Yeah. I think just going back to, first of all, I don't think that these are cogent reasons to walk away from a marriage. That's number one. But I think that is why it's important to know why you're going into the marriage before you go into the marriage. And like she said, count the cost. Do not let pop culture define what God has designed, right? So, which is why I have a problem with mutual love. Mutual love is good, but it only works when both people are giving, right? The system breaks when one person is no longer pouring into, just like you said. And God calls us to deeper, which is covenant love. That is the love that loves despite. And it's hard. I'm still even trying to receive it, that you're loving the person, and like you said, the person is there. The potential is not potentialing anymore. The person is lying down there, you can't walk or whatever. Do you understand? But guess what God says? Love. And for me, that's... But you're in a marriage.
I was going to ask a question.
Yeah, I wanted to answer her question before you ask your question.
I wanted to ask,
Okay.
I wanted to ask her a question.
Okay.
Just very honestly, how much of the Bible do you believe? Do you believe what you read, or you believe in the actual reality of the Bible? Mm-hmm.
Right? So I also believe that you have to have a level of understanding and wisdom to actually clarify
I agree. Definitely.
That's how it is. Because now, for example, in the Old Testament, there's so many gods that you get, and God said, and there's so many gods, but everybody believes that anything Samuel says, God has said it. So you believe that it's God.
Please, can someone give her a mic?
Actually, so I believe in actually having the wisdom and the understanding before reading the Bible, not taking it as the men wrote it. So men can just write, and then if you just take it as its fair value, you'll be misleading yourself.
So Holy Spirit curriculum, I get you.
Yeah,
you
so
read the Bible.
Definitely, like you read the Bible, but read it with the Holy Spirit for understanding. So what I wanted to say to answer your question, because I said I almost answered it, just answer it from my own way, is this. He has said that marriage is like a business venture. So I'd like everybody to know that marriage is a risk. Definitely, it's business. It's a risk. And I also want you to know that marriage is not the final thing on this earth to help you know if you have attained purpose or not, if you have missed the kingdom of God or not. So the truth is, if you decide you want to get married to somebody, all right, and you give the value for richer, for poor, or for in sickness and in health, you are there. Now, it's self-seeking to believe that because somebody's potential that you believed in, which was also why you entered the marriage, now you not see the potential. Now you want to come out. Amen. You are self-seeking. You have been self-seeking from the beginning. And it's not wrong to self-seek or self-preserve. It's not. It's a function of man. You have to seek for yourself. But again, if we really want to talk about love, you will suffer if you stay with somebody that you are looking for potential will not come. Yes, but you count it all what? All joy. So if you want to go the way of the Bible, you will count it all joy. Because why? It's not his fault that the potential is not coming.
What if?
No, wait. No, it's two things. Because you said two things, right? You said, this person has been working, but it didn't come out. Like, in the context that you have put it first, like, if you saw potential, this person was working, was trying to get it up, right? You entered the marriage, it's just later blow. Because there are so many things that leads to a blow. That's why from the beginning he said, so far you don't have spiritual problem. It's probably spiritual problem that not lead to the blow. But let's take that out, right? There's so many things. There's so many people that have tried to start businesses for years, and it just did not materialize. And sometimes we say it's easy to just look for something else and do. But what if it was their passion? If you enter that marriage with that person seeing that thing, and at the end of the day, potential did not materialize, it's not even your fault too. But then you have entered it. If your love has quantity, and you have got, like I said, it's okay to be self-seeking. This is not even me judging anybody. Self-seek for your own preservation. If you get to the point where your lover say, oh yeah, I don't try, I no do again, sir. I want to go. For me, it's knowing yourself enough to know that there's a height that you can get to waiting for a man. That's what I would say. And the example is because I know of someone who has dated someone for a long time. And the guy really wanted to get his own end right before marriage. She wanted marriage. Straight up. But he wanted to get, which leads us back to what Isaiah said, right? His question. He wanted to get himself together before marriage. But she wanted marriage first. And so they got married. And then in the process of the marriage, this guy's business could not run again because stuff had happened. Right? But she knew the guy was hardworking. She saw the vision. She saw everything, which was also why she wanted to. Because she's like, I can't lose this guy. He's good. He's patient. Everything. He has a business. He's very passionate. But he gets into the marriage and the passion did not passion because the business did not work out. But she had already got into a managerial position in her workplace. And she felt like she couldn't do it anymore because she had started meeting men who had money. She had started going to businesses with men who spoke in the 6 figures, right? And she wanted to leave. And everybody called her, the names that they would call a woman who wants to leave her husband, because why won't you just provide for the man? But it also takes us back to, if you were the woman and the man was it's on the other side, if he left you, would you be fine?
You can to answer your question, I believe marriage is 50-50. Everyone should be able to provide, right? So everybody, even if all of us pray to have odogus, right, to be taken care of, princess treatment, but I believe in a partnership. So if I cannot be a liability in my marriage, so if I'm not also providing, and the man is saying I can't work with a liability, and he decides to step out, is his decision, because he has brought a liability, and what liability to keep doing is to keep draining you.
Okay, so I think the idea of this question is, first, let's talk about pre-marriage, even before marriage, to understand discernment. First, something happened to me in my life where I always wanted, from trauma, I wanted a woman that was high-flying, and that was, that would be speaking English and be doing blah, blah, blah. And so I went after that kind of person. The thing is that I did not wait for God's, why we talk in the beginning about understanding, working with God. And then I entered and I found out that it was face value. There was nothing. The person did not necessarily have any substance. The person was just carrying laptop up and down and say, oh, I'm this. Yeah, it happens. I'm being honest. These things happen. And so the idea is discernment. So let's start from the beginning. When you find, again, know your God. When you find somebody and you actually work with God, God will show you. You would see, except you are blinded, you will see that this thing is face value. You will see it. The person would, they say don't fall in love with a dreamer. You will know if the person is a dreamer. You would know. If you invite God, and you work, we are not, and I know when a lot of girls say, oh, I want princess. The other day I was talking to somebody, he say, let's go on a date. He said, you have to send me a cab. I said, why? He said, because it's princess treatment. I said, does a princess need cab? No, it's the truth. Because if you are valuing me at so you are working for the highest bidder. What a princess should you even drive? Do you understand what I'm saying? But you are valuing for the highest bidder. So first, let's talk about pre-marriage. What happened that you were not able to decipher what that person was is 2 things. Maybe you are blinded by the flashy things that do not. A lot of men that the other day, one wedding planner was telling me that the husband is owing her and begging her not to tell the wife he cannot afford this. What kind of a marriage is that? They're lying to each other. So he's still owing like 10 million. 1 second. 10 million. and the wife is shouting on the, where am I? This one. Yes, see now, wow, the husband they beg me, so she don't get money. Saying go pay you one borrow. So what kind of marriage is that? So first of all, you need to first know how you can discern this person. Now, the second thing is that I spoke about before is that, let's say, and Chike has answered the question. Let's say you not get there. Let's say you discern first. And the thing about talking to God is that you can always go back to God, because you say, God, how far? The first person you need to report your spouse to is God. Now, the second thing is you need to know that the person is malleable. I say this all the time. You cannot, if you are dating somebody that the person says, I'm stubborn, you can't change me. Don't worry, go. If we are fighting over let's get croissant or banana bread, and every time you have to do it your way, it's a red flag. You understand? Sometimes let's get what you want, because you know that in the hard decisions, you will come to a place where the person will say, I'm the way I am. And people fall out of news. That's the truth, especially entrepreneurs. They can do something for a long time. Because let me tell you something, a lot of what's happening to entrepreneurs today, I know, is lack of knowledge. It happens a lot. People can say I've been building a business, they have never gone for a business accelerator or business school or nothing. Some people have been trying to do, they are not doing it the right way. Everything that happens to you, anything, if you are broke today, is your decision first. Call God to help you. Say, bring me out, help me. So people are proud not to understand this process, because they are, even in the Bible, there's season of sowing, they're reaping, there's skill. You have to do this thing. So if you find, and that's what eligibility means, not money. Because if you find somebody and say, this person can listen to me, this person is not face value. Forget, I know a lot of men that have a lot of money, they don't even have car. And they're sharp boys, they don't have a car. But you are following the person that just bought new Benz. Okay, follow. I'm not saying that's you, but you get my point. So you need to discern who you want to get married to, first of all, and let God lead you. If not, if you are looking at the person must do this thing, even if the person is showing you, tell God that God, I beg, unveil, forget. The guy might be tall, black, and speaks well. My friend, she can't see this podcast. She dated somebody. The guy was speaking English. We are going to Burundi. Nothing. At the end of the day, she was feeding this person.
That's a great way to end the show. Chooks, I'm so sorry. We'll come next week. Because if I keep people here again, I don't know. You are going to transfer a couple of people back home.
Hi, guys.
It has layers. Yeah, she said he's not ready to do the work. It's like, looking at, he has given up on the muse to continue.
Hi, guys.
Yes.
So, we have come to the end of this segment. And I really love everybody who contributed the questions. And I want you guys to know that the Unbothered Show is here for you. And we're not bothered about what culture thinks, but we're here to reshape culture. And we are here to help people who have misconceptions, who wants to understand how to do life with a partner properly in a faith and God-driven way. And bring your friends. Next time, come. Don't forget, guys, follow us on all social media, the Unbothered Show.
So I'm sure the live show is going to be happening every first Sunday and last Sunday of the month. But we have podcasts that... Look at his face. But the podcast itself is just going to roll out weekly. The dates will be shared on social media. Okay, so the team says that there's a question form on social media. So if you have anyone who has a question, or if you have a question, please click the link and fill that. But thank you to everybody that showed up today. It's our first show. It's my first time sitting down in front of people, and it was a great time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.